We're asked to factor the following polynomial. We can use factor by grouping. We could also use what I refer to as the box method. I'll show you factor by grouping here. You look at your first two terms, that's what you group together, and you see if by factoring out the GCF you can end up with the same thing in parentheses that you would get from the second two terms if you factor out the GCF. Sometimes you have to rearrange stuff a little bit, so let's see what would happen here. From the first two I could get 3x, and that would leave me with 3x minus 6y. I don't see how that would help me there. So I'm going to have to rearrange this. It's not in a good order right now. So I'm going to try 9x squared minus 7x. So I'll rewrite this as 9x squared minus 7x. And then the second two, let's see, 9x squared minus 7x, that leaves me with negative 18xy plus 14y. Okay, I rearranged these because now if you look, if I look at my first two terms, all I can factor out is an x, right? And that would leave me with 9x minus 7. Think of that. 9x minus 7 would be sitting in parentheses. Over here, if I factor out, what can I do? I can actually factor out a negative 2y, and that would leave me with 9x minus 7. It might be kind of hard to do in your head, but we'll see how that works out. So for my first two, I'm grouping these together. I can factor out an x. So there's my x sitting in front of parentheses. And when I say factor out, I mean divide out an x and divide out an x. When I do that, here I'd be left with 9x, and here I'd be left with minus 7. All right. Looking at our next two terms, I want to end up with 9x minus 7 in parentheses over here. So if I factor out a 2y, I won't have a minus 7. So I'm going to factor out a negative 2y. All right, when I do that, how are we going to show this? If I factor out negative 2y from this first term, I'm going to be left with a positive 9x. Okay? If I factor out a negative 2y from this term, I'll be left with negative 7. So notice inside parentheses, I have inside this set of parentheses 9x minus 7. Inside this set of parentheses, 9x minus 7, that's my common term. I'm going to factor it out. Okay, I got to push this up. So I'm factoring out 9x minus 7. When I factor out 9x minus 7 from here, 9x minus 7 goes into 9x minus 7 once. The only thing left is an x. Okay. And over here, when I factor out 9x minus 7, that's another way of saying divide by 9x minus 7. That goes into itself one time, and the only thing left up here is negative 2y. Okay, so this is our answer. We went from a polynomial, we had 4 things being added or subtracted, to 2 binomials being multiplied. We do this, well, you might see down the line, but when we're trying to solve for x or y, this can be a lot easier to work with than a 4-term polynomial. You can check this answer simply by redistributing each term in this set of parentheses to each term in that set of parentheses. If we do that, this will prove that we've done it correctly, we should be able to get back where we started from. Okay? So I'll just check that now. 9 times x would give us 9x squared. Then 9 times negative 2y would give us negative 18xy. Then if we multiply negative 7 times x, we would get negative 7x. And finally, our last term would be negative 7 times negative 2y would be positive 14y. Now this should be what we started with. Let's see if I can fit it all on the screen here. 9x squared, that worked out. Negative 18xy, negative 18xy. Negative 7x, positive 14y, positive 14y.